When Peter came home from work as a vet, he saw his beloved dog Max and his cat Sam lying in a very strange position. At first, he thought they were messing around, but when he saw that Max wouldn't let go of the cat, he turned pale. When he called the vet, he would soon discover why. The vet told Peter that there was no time to lose. He heard of this before, and it wasn't a nice prospect back then. But to make sure this was the case, the vet needed Peter to come over with his cat Sam. Peter quickly rushed to his car. The vet told him to hurry, as this could be a life or death situation for the little cat. But not everything went according to plan. But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our upcoming stories. Apparently it was rush hour right now. Why now? Thought Peter. The panic rose even further. Peter was in complete panic mode. What on earth was happening with his cat? Everything seemed to be fine, but the vet sounded really worried. Luckily, he overcame the rush hour and was about to arrive at the vet. He wanted to sort this out rather sooner than later. When he finally arrived at the vet's clinic with Sam, Peter was sat down by the vet's assistant. She told him that the vet would come as quickly as he could. But this had already taken almost an hour since they had been on the phone. Peter could not hold his anger anymore. Peter got really angry, demanding that the doctor came to see his cat. The vet himself said that this could be a dangerous situation, so why wasn't he here already? The assistant tried to calm Peter down, but this didn't work. Peter took matters into his own hands. He stormed into the vet's office, demanding that he would come to see Sam right now. But the vet wasn't having any of it. He was handling another dog right now, but when the dog owner saw the despair on Peter's face, the woman made a kind decision. The woman realized that Sam needed more urgent help than her dog, which was just a routine check. Quickly after this, Peter calmed down a little bit since he was happy that Sam could finally be examined. He wanted to know what was going on. But as soon as the vet started to examine Sam, he turned pale. It seemed like he knew what was going on without really telling to Peter. But to make sure he was right, he asked some questions to Peter about Sam. The vet started with some normal questions, but things took quite a U-turn when the doctor asked some strange questions about how he treats Sam. Peter was baffled. Why did the vet want to know these things? Shouldn't he be examining her body? But the vet was not in a good mood. The vet was shocked by the answers he gave. How could he do this? Especially being an adult. The vet ran out of his office and straight to his assistant to help him. He needed some help with this, as he did not expect Peter's answers. He quickly started some medical tests. He needed the test results as soon as possible to confirm his suspicions. The only thing the vet could think was how a grown adult could do this to the cats he'd love. But he had to be professional. The vet took Sam with him, but that wasn't easy at all. Sam became quite restless and even a little bit aggressive. The vet needed help from his assistant to lay her down, but that wasn't the hardest part. The vet needed to stretch Sam, as he couldn't do his examinations otherwise. He asked his assistant to stretch her, but stretching her wasn't that easy, as she was really aggressive and looked like she was about to severely scratch and bite someone. The assistant hesitated alongside the vet. They both feared that they could be severely injured. Was it really smart to do this? Maybe other measures were the better approach, but they didn't want to go that way yet. The vet asked Peter if he could assist him. Maybe he was the right person to calm his own cat down. But it became clear that it wouldn't even help. Sam looked really aggressive and didn't recognize her own boss anymore. But after a few minutes, Sam seemed to calm down a little bit. The vet took its chance and immediately stretched out Sam. He could finally examine this cat properly. As soon as he started his examinations, the vet immediately saw a big bulge on Sam's belly. He knew this couldn't be any good. Peter saw as well that the vet noticed something strange. He immediately asked him, "What do you see?" He really wanted to know. The vet's tone changed immediately. This looked really serious. He whispered something to his assistant, who immediately ran out of the surgery room. But Peter wanted to know what was happening. The vet then told him something he didn't expect. They needed to sedate Sam. He needed to make an ultrasound in addition to other tests that he wanted to run, but Sam needed to be sedated, as this could hurt her a little bit if she was awake. Peter understood the situation and wanted them to proceed. Meanwhile, Sam acted more and more aggressively all of a sudden. Peter and the vet kept their distance, hoping she would calm down again. But that wasn't the case. The vet knew he had only one other option left. The vet could use heavier medicines that they could use from a distance, but that was not without risks. There was a possibility that Sam would not survive this. The vet asked Peter what he wanted. Peter was split between the choices. This was such a hard choice. Peter knew that this could end very badly if he made the wrong choice. But what was the wrong choice exactly? He thoroughly thought about both options and asked the vet what risks were attached to either choice. After a long process, he decided with his heart instead of his head. Peter knew that he had to sedate Sam to make sure she could be examined properly, so he gave permission to the vet to use heavier medicines. But first, they had to get themselves to safety as Sam got more aggressive. The vet instructed Peter to slowly leave his office, but Sam did not exactly welcome that idea. She got even more aggressive than she did before, so Peter hesitated to leave her like this. Was it all worth it? Sam not only seemed to be restless, but also in pain. She needed to be sedated rather sooner than later, for her own good. So Peter walked away more quickly than planned. After this, the vet could do his job. With Peter away, the vet prepared the medicines and sedated Sam. After a few minutes of waiting until she was asleep, he started to prepare the ultrasound he was about to conduct. These were tense minutes for both Peter and the vet. Was there something bad going on with Sam? While performing the ultrasound, the vet's tone changed. Slowly it went from optimistic to pessimistic. Peter noticed this but was afraid that he would keep the vet distracted. Later, he wished he'd asked her sooner. After minutes of inspecting the ultrasound, the vet told Peter that he had to make a phone call that was urgent. But Peter did not know who the vet wanted to call. Peter panicked at first. Was his beloved cat going to be okay? But there was something else going on. While Peter was wondering what was going on, even more assistants arrived. They immediately went into the surgery room with the vet. Peter started to panic a bit. He still didn't know what was going on with Sam. Peter wasn't able to wait any longer. He wanted to know what was going on, and he wanted to know it now. But the vet wasn't going to tell him. He could only reveal one thing, but that didn't really relieve Peter at all. Peter got told that Sam needed surgery. This was going to take a few hours as it was a serious injury to know what was going on. Peter stopped his colleagues at first but knew this wouldn't help him, so he made a kind decision. He let all of the remaining colleagues in, who ensured Sam would get the best care possible. Now it turned into a waiting game. But nobody told him how long he had to wait. But soon he realized that there was something else going on. There weren't just colleagues coming in to help the vet, the police arrived as well. Peter thought it had nothing to do with him, but they actually approached him. And they weren't messing about, they immediately wanted to interrogate them. Peter answered all the questions about himself and about his cat Sam. At first it was just normal questions, but soon they became way more detailed. Why did they want to know all this stuff? But then the questions got even weirder. They asked about the owner he got his cat from and whether he had done a background check. Luckily, Peter had done a background check when he bought his cat, as he liked to be thorough, and he could show that to the police now. He had the sources he used on his phone. After the police had seen those sources, they nodded at each other. They walked towards their bag and came back with a giant dossier. Peter did not expect what was coming next. The police asked whether Peter recognized the person in the photos they were showing to Peter. Peter obviously helped the police but did not see anyone he recognized up until one photo. He knew where he saw this man before. Peter pointed out that he knew him, but at the same time he got even more worried about Sam. This was the man whom he bought his cat from. But what did this mean? What were the consequences for Peter and Sam? The police told him soon enough. It appeared that Peter had bought Sam from a criminal. These were gangs that made a business out of this. But what wasn't clear to him was how they got to him and why Sam was in danger. But then the vet came outside explaining the situation. Apparently, the vet performed an ultrasound on which he saw something incredible that wasn't possible. Therefore, he called the police as he knew that this was work from some criminals. But at the same time, it was good news for Peter. Sam was about to give birth to a few kittens. Apparently, the criminals impregnated her just before she was bought by Peter. They had made quite a smart business model out of it until now. The police were about to catch them with the help of Peter. After Sam recovered from the surgery and gave birth to 2 lovely kittens, it was time for revenge. The police asked Peter to post on social media that his cat Sam had just given birth to wonderful kittens. This would bait the criminals. Peter was excited but also anxious at the same time. What if the police wouldn't arrive them this night? What if they knew what they were doing? But when he left his house, it didn't take long for the criminals to arrive. As soon as they entered his house, the police arrested them. It all went really smoothly and Peter was thanked by the police. But Peter knew the one he had to thank for this. He had to thank his dog, Max. He was the one that noticed that Sam was pregnant. He wouldn't have noticed until it was too late. He rewarded Max with lots of new toys and nice food. Besides, they were ready to welcome the new kittens into their house.